how everyone sees it. So let's jump directly to the agenda that we have for today. First of all, I will introduce the Decentraland Foundation, a quick intro on what we do and why we do it. Then we will be presenting the value proposition of worlds and land and how we see that evolving in the future. How worlds future works from a technical standpoint of view and also a user standpoint of view, how to deploy a world and what type of services are available now. And we will be presenting potential next steps that we would like to suggest when it comes to the next few steps for this world's feature. Finally, we will have a Q&A. Here at the bottom right of the screen, you see a QR code. If you want to start submitting your questions, please scan this QR code. We'll be presenting this QR code at the end of the presentation, so and also sharing the link. But please, if anything comes to your mind, please ask a question through this Slido application. Cool? Are we good? Let's start. Great. So first of all, let me present myself. I'm Agustin Ferreira. I'm the Decentraland Foundation Executive Director. My job at the Decentraland Foundation is basically to oversee and manage our organization's day-to-day operations to ensure its success and growth, and obviously contribute to the foundation's long-term plans, as well as in my role of being a community member of the Decentraland project, contribute to the project's long-term plans. These are my handles. In Decentraland, you can find me by jungle.dcl.if. If you want to add me there, please do. I would love to have a conversation via our private chat and be your friend in Decentraland. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's my handle, Agus0xyc. My DMs are open, so if you want to provide me with any feedback or you want to just to get to know me, please send me a message. I would love to get your thoughts and your feedback from this presentation and for anything else that you would like to share. So first of all, let's start with just an overview on what the Decentraland Foundation does. So the Decentraland Foundation is a non-profit, independent entity with the purpose of, one, protect the platform's decentralized vision, two, obviously hold intellectual property assets that the DAO can't hold, actually, and three, obviously foster the decentralization and the decentralization development in collaboration with and for the benefit of the Decentraland ecosystem. So we currently hold the delegation of the reference client, and we are on our way to, and as this mission statement refers, to build the Decentraland's protocol building blocks so that one day our community can fully own the development. So since 2020, since the Decentraland reference client was launched, we've been building all these different building blocks. And what I mean building blocks is building the decentralized core infrastructure so that this protocol can't be evil. That's our motto. Building a sustainable business model and trying to find a way so that we can give the right incentives to the content creators as well as the people that will be willing to contribute to the Decentraland's code moving forward. And at the same time, achieving product market fit, iterating over the product and trying to achieve this product market fit for this decentralized, user-generated content spatial platform that we have as the Decentraland project. We keep on fostering ways in which the community can actively participate in decision-making and execution, and we hope that in the future, the community can fully own the development. For the time being, we are developing the reference client, and we are iterating with our community in better ways to communicate and obviously better ways to add value to the Decentraland protocol. So Just to give you an overview on the different functions that the Decentraland Foundation currently has, we currently have 7 teams in place. We have a partnerships team, a marketing team, a content team, and a support team that are part of our what we call operations. Basically, trying to have a cohesive go-to-market strategy on how to bring to market the Decentraland product and the project. And then most of our resources and our focus is focus on on our product engineering structure. As I said before, trying to get to this product market fit, iterate on everything that has to do with our decentralized protocol, and obviously on the products that we have on top of this protocol. Then we have a people's team and a finance and legal team that obviously are supporting everything that has to do with our structure. Um, that's just like a high level overview on the different functions that the Decentraland Foundation has for you to know. If you would like to get more information about that, please ping me later on. But just to give you a clear overview on what are the type of things that the foundation is currently doing. Let's briefly talk about something that is of real importance to the foundation and also to the community, that has to do with the communication between both of them. So I just want to mention a few channels of communications that we currently have in place, and some other communication channels that will be coming in the next few weeks / months. The first one, we recently launched a manifesto for this year, and we stated that this will be the year of the creators. So hopefully by now you have all read it and you feel excited about this. We are super excited about what we have in hands. We recently launched the SDK 7 beta version. Huge congrats to the team, everyone that is involved in that. And we have big plans in terms of features that we want to provide to our content creators. The Decentraland editor, a no-code editor that is currently being built so that we improve the way in which non-coders, non-technical creators can create content inside the Decentraland platform. Also, new and improved tools for monetizing created content. We keep on iterating on that, and we keep on improving the marketplace so that our creators find more ways of living out of Decentraland, as well as also new tools and features for the SDK. And hopefully these new features and tools for the SDK can help our creators to create fun moments and fun content inside Decentraland. We been in Technical Amas, and we've been doing a series of different Technical Amas on different topics: SDK, reference client, everything that has to do with dApps, and also our Catalyst and our platform services. I really encourage all of you to come to these Ask Me Anything sessions. I think that we learn a lot along the way by listening to what we have in mind for the future, and also we get a lot of feedback. And that's super valuable to us on the things that we are building, because we are building those things for our community. So we really want to hear your voice on that, and what are the different suggestions and ideas that you have for these different initiatives and for these different missions that we have within the Decentraland Foundation. Coming soon, we'll be posting a quarterly update on the different milestones and internal objectives that we have at the Decentraland Foundation. I know, and I want to acknowledge that you've been asking us to provide you, the community, with a roadmap. We are working on our way to bring more information to you so that you get a clear idea on what are the things that are being prioritized on our roadmap and the things that we would like to develop for the year. So hopefully this first quarterly update will be a tool for both of us to communicate and to have early feedback on the things that we would like to develop for the year. We are also working, hopefully we have some by this year, for having some kind of a roadmap signaling, so that if you would like to see something being included on the roadmap, you can basically vote on that and signal your voice. And we've been hosting some product sessions, and hopefully we will continue to do this so that we can give you early access to all the different things that we have in mind, but obviously have a more in-depth conversation about those features so that we get your feedback and we can also iterate together on those different features. So having said that, I would love to open up the big conversation that we have for today, that is Decentraland worlds. Okay, so as the goal of the AMA, first of all, I would like to share with you the Decentraland Foundation vision for worlds, and I want to clarify what's our vision for the Genesis City and the lands in general. Okay, this will be an open conversation. All these different slides I'll be sharing with you will function as a trigger for having an open conversation. And what we would like to get out of the conversation is get your early feedback and obviously, yeah, discuss and iterate the ideas that we have for worlds and how to add value on top of that. Before moving on, I just want to acknowledge that the world's feature probably caught many of you by surprise, and I want to state that we are finding ways to do our communication and obviously to hear you and to clear out all the different concerns and all the different doubts that you may have for the worlds, as well as any other feature that we continue to develop, in the future. This AMA is intended to be a channel, a communication channel to clarify and clear out all those doubts. So please, if you have any concern, if you have any doubts, bring them forward, and we will make our best to answer all of the different questions that you may have. Good. Are we good? Yes? Okay, let's continue then. Thank you. Yeah, I see a lot of people joining us. Amazing. So let's get down to our vision, right? So first of all, I would love to open up the conversation by sharing with you the motivation. And I would love to state that we really see Worlds as a potential way to become the most popular publishing medium for spatial content in the metaverse. So let me explain a little bit the rationale behind that and where we stand. Decentraland is uniquely positioned among the current competitors' landscape, being the first and only really decentralized and open source metaverse that has a Web3 native SDK. And in my way of seeing things, we have only seen the tip of the iceberg, but there is so much value to be generated from what's already built and what's already available behind the curtains. And I believe that Worlds might possibly be, a way for the Decentraland platform to really bring a lot of value on all the tools, all the resources that we currently have, so that we can onboard and we can retain and we can, give, tools for people trying to express their creativity in the metaverse in a frictionless and fun way of creating content. So probably, by now we all have a clear, vision on this is opening up and lowering the entry barrier for new creators, and hopefully this will allow us to better, have a better go-to-market strategy to onboarding content creators and really unleashing their creativity, right? But at the same time, and this is something to be said, Decentraland, sorry, Discord pretends to be an spatial network for creating spatial content, right? So it also enables a permissionless decentralization of the content delivery infrastructure. So it's not only the land and the content that can be built on top of the land, but also finding other ways in which we can create spatial content and in which we can, capture the value and generate value from all our different, product artifacts, like our identity system and many other things that we have built along the years, right? So I just want to bring up this slide and discuss a little bit about the value proposition between Genesis City and Worlds. First thing that I want to say is that uh, I truly see that both Genesis City and land, uh, I mean, can benefit from what is currently being built as worlds. The truth is that both of them can coexist and they can complement each other in the way that worlds uh, serves its purpose as being an onboarding tool and also a way so that people can create isolated content that has nothing to do with what can be done on the Genesis City, being that the Genesis City value proposition and the traits that has the Genesis City product are way different from the traits and the value proposition that the Worlds has, right? We see in the future Genesis City being the, how do you say this, like the main hub for the metaverse, the main hub for the Decentraland ecosystem, and Worlds just being places where you can go and you can jump into different experiences. So from seeing all these different verticals and in the way in which the value proposition is clearly targeted, I believe that there is no competition between each other in the long run. uh, I want to acknowledge obviously that there are some concerns from the land owners at this point in time about what is this taking away from them. But the truth is that as we keep on iterating over these ideas and as we keep on moving forward, we see a lot of value in having both things in place. And obviously, we see a lot of value on what the world's feature can bring into the Genesis City. At this point in time, there are many ways in which we can differentiate one another in terms of the value proposition. I just want to highlight that the storage right now, when it comes to the Genesis City, is being held by the DCL, decentralized network of nodes of our catalysts, what we call the catalysts. But on the Worlds feature, it can be hosted by anyone. Right now, the first iteration and the way in which we are experimenting with Worlds is being hosted by the Decentraland Foundation, but we are also seeing some other third parties creating their own storage servers. And there is even another option that is storing your own content by deploying your own service, right? So one of the things that are being discussed at the current moment is the discoverability and how to find the content, right? So in our way of seeing things, we truly believe that the Genesis City will continue to be this metaverse hub where people come for the first time and they engage into interesting activities. And then later I'm going to share with you some of the plans that we have when it comes to the structured content. And Worlds functions as a way to create experiments and isolated places and isolated content. Actually, one of the things that we've been discussing internally is that if we see the moderation as being a problem in the future when we grow and more content becomes available in the Decentraland network, Worlds will be a fundamental piece of technology for moderating the content. So if, let's say, if you want to deploy adult content, well, deploy that on a World instead of the Genesis City. And the Genesis City has certain guidelines, and then the Worlds obviously can have their own way to storage the content and their own way to display the content. So Genesis City vision, we want the Genesis City to become the main lobby of the metaverse. So it being an onboarding place for newcomers, and where a lot of structure like quests and seasonal content will happen. As I said before, we have some plans to bring in quests. That's going to be one of the things that will be happening over the next couple of months. And we are already working on some seasonal content like quests that will basically function as structured content for the first-time user experience. We recently launched a new first-time user experience, and hopefully in the next few months, we will revisit the Genesis Plaza and make it a hub for newcomers so that they can find a way to find, interesting content and find things to do in the Decentraland, metaverse. And we pretend to continue, creating content on top of the Genesis City and the Genesis Plaza, and that being, the first hub or the first lobby of the metaverse. And hopefully, well, that helps with the entire, user journey for newcomers. Something to be said is that Worlds has this unique feature of being able, I mean, you can basically attach your web page with the Worlds feature, and hopefully we start getting a lot of, organic traffic coming to these Worlds, and then going back to the Genesis City. So something that will most probably happen is that there will be a lot of people that goes to a world, and then they finally get to know Decentraland because of that content that first of all got that user, right? All the different big events and the tentpole events that we been organizing will continue to be part of the Genesis City vision. We pretend to keep on, populating the Genesis City via all these different tentpole events, helping districts and also collaborating obviously with districts to bring in more, interesting content that can help us build, all those lands and help us build, different theme districts. I just want to, before moving on, just want to bring to attention two topics. One is the DAO that is a pool that is currently at a pool stage. That is a proposal for the DAO to buy land. That can be seen right now in the DAO, and also there is an initiative that will be most probably published by the foundation. That is a way to incentivize creators. So basically, bringing incentives so that creators creating content and engaging, users can get something in exchange for that, and we can incentivize them to keep on creating content inside the, Genesis City. What about the world's vision? We really want this to enable anyone to host their own content. So keep an scalable publishing medium for new creators, enabling, private and self-governed spaces. And again, this moderation aspect, I think, is critical moving forward, and will allow us to have different, spaces for different use cases. And the truth is that we also see that this is a way to extend the Genesis City content through portals. So basically going to the Genesis City as this main metaverse hub or this main metaverse lobby, and then finding your way to this portal so that you can continue exploring and finding new worlds and new content that can really, open up the possibility to anything that can be thought, right? So having said that, I would like to invite Jamel over to the virtual stage so that he can present to us how it currently works, and also what are the next steps in regards to the world's vision and what we want to propose.
Thank you, August. Well, I will going to try to be fast so we can have some enough time for the questions. So worlds, how they work right now. So there is a repository on GitHub. We have the piece of code that makes the World Content Center. That it's open source. Foundation is running one server, and if you have a Decentraland name, that's a subdomain on tcl.ath. And yeah, so you can deploy content on that server hosted by Foundation, and the content will be tied to your ENS name. Yeah, you could create your own content server and go to ENS and put the URL of your own content server, and that should be working as well in the current Explorer. So how you can use it? So if you go to the Explorer, you are in any part of Decentraland. It could be a world or it could be Genesis City. If you type in the chat change realm using the name of the world, you will be teleported to that world. Also, you can access a world directly by its name with a URL. So play.decentral.org/world/name, and you will access directly to that world. And also, there is the possibility of creating these portals inside Decentral. For that, you need to use SDK 7, which is the last release of the SDK, to create your scene. And there's a function called change realm with the URL of the world content server, and also a message to display the user before teleporting it to another dimension. Next slide. So what can you build with this? You could organize meetings in your own world, having voice communication that works out of the box. That meetings is maybe more private because you don't have any pedestrian passing by and hijacking your call. Also, you can gate the experience to a limited audience. At the moment, there is no particular way to gate it. You need to use the SDK 7 or just be sure to only share the link to those people. Also, you can build an MVP or a prototype to present to, I don't know, investors, sponsors, clients, maybe to the DAO. If you want to, I don't know, get a piece of land, you have a publishing medium to share your prototypes on early versions. And also you can test your interaction before deploying to Genesis City. You can use a world as a testing stage, which is also accessible, but yeah, you need to share the link to the testers first. Yeah, these are some ideas. Probably the community has a lot more. Next slide. So the current status of Decentraland Worlds is like it launched on December 21 from last year, and today we have like more than 2,000 worlds deployed on, I think this data is from the Decentraland Foundation server. Active users are not very high, it's 250 active users per week. And checking the size of the worlds, we can say that 70% of the worlds have 4 parcels or less. You can see here a graph like a huge amount of world between 1 and 4 parcels, and we have a few between more than 10, less than 50, and just 12 more than 250 up to 500. Probably those are like experiments. I don't know how they can populate something as big, but yeah, pretty much everyone is using small parcels. Next one. And I want to highlight 2 community innovations around the world. First one is a hosting service built by Atlas Corp. They have a website, Decentraland Worlds, and they give you the infrastructure to deploy your own world content server. The content server is open source and you have the code and you can deploy it yourself. But if you don't want to get into the hassle of getting a hosting service and putting the code there and making sure it's running and scaling it, if you have many users or whatever, yeah, they can manage all that for you for, I believe it's $5 per month, but not sure. Probably you can check the website and see the pricing. And also there is a fork, a modification of the current version of the world content service that lets you support any ENS domain. So you have any other ENS Web3 domain, you can also deploy a world attached to that. That initiative was coded by H. Privakos, and also JasonX is involved in promoting it and very active on Twitter. At the moment, the service is free. Not very sure how you can deploy at the moment, but you should follow the README there in the GitHub or contact H. Privakos for more information. But it's amazing in this amount of time seeing the community taking open source code and making the modifications or building services on top of that. And it's very inspirational to see how Decentraland can be this kind of industry, such as like the internet is an industry with many companies building around it. Yeah, looking forward to see more innovation coming from the community as well. Next slide. So potential next steps, we are in a very early stage of Worlds. The Central Foundation is still deciding like what should the foundation go next. There have been a poll about like should Worlds be added in places or discovered through events. And based on the results of that poll, we decided like this is the right time to do this AMA and be here for the community and build the bridges between the community and foundation. So, but those are interesting ones because, as you said, like 250 users per week is not that much. So discoverability may help on this sense. Also, enabling publishing scenes to world directly from the builder. Also creating world templates similar to the awesome repository, a set of scenes that you can deploy for a common use case, like having an office or having a gallery. And other thing that it could be done is being able to modify your world, such as the skybox. Yeah, so you can customize it and have it something different. Yeah, but all of this is yeah, potential, not coded at the moment. Yeah, I believe that your feedback and the feedback with the community is super important in making this roadmap. Yeah, and next slide. So open questions, and I believe these are like too soon to answer. But it's interesting about how we can open this conversation from the community, from foundation, and everyone involved to see what is how worlds see on the long term and how we can shape all together how worlds function. So a few questions are like, should the world's content be stored on the Catalyst network? That's an open question. At the moment, the strategy is way different of like landing Genesis City that is in the Catalyst network. That is, it's hosted by a third party in a single server. But maybe an alternative opinion is like, if you want to have a world being permanently stored in the distributed network, you can pay for that. Also, is the DAO should charge a monthly fee for running your world? That's also another open question for the future. And like if the DAO want to monetize for you being able to run a world. Other question is like, should world content servers be registered or curated by the DAO? Maybe some official world content server could be more discoverable than others. So that's another interesting idea. Other idea is, should be like a marketplace of world templates, such as like this is a simple scene you can buy and deploy in your world. Yeah, those are open questions. We don't have an answer for them, but I think they kickstart for a conversation for us as a community. Yeah, next, I think we're reaching the end of the presentation. So let's go to the questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for the time, the patience. I was as well.
Thank you, everyone.
So let's move to the questions. You can submit your questions on this link. Can you, I will present the screen with the questions so we can start reading.
Let me just 1 second.
The first question is from Jason Dog. I will read the first question and you can present. Deploying decentralized worlds is still a technical challenge, especially for new users. Can you please make it easier one-click deployments? Yeah, I think that's on the potential next steps to having these templates for worlds and also to add it into the builder. So I think that's on the roadmap, so anyone can publish a world easily. in order to modify that world, I think like we need to rely on external tools. I know DCL Edit is a grant from the DAO that is making a super interesting tool to create content, and maybe they can add a way to deploy to the world easily. Thank you. Can you zoom in? Okay, cool. Agus, do you want to add anything else regarding DCL worlds, like make it easily to one-click deploy?
Yeah, I actually think that Sam raised his hand. Probably he can give us more insights on what we have plans.
Yeah, so we've been kind of chatting about this between different departments, and what we want to have is something that everybody can basically buy a name and deploy to world within 20 or 30 minutes. And the way that we, there's a lot of technical challenges, but the way we've decided to do it to get it up and running now is to bring back the old builder, make these templates, choose a template, open that template in the builder so you can customize it to make it your own, and then open the next script when you're ready and everything is in place. Open the next screen and you'll get the choice between deploy to worlds or deploy to world. I'd love to have a conversation about whether worlds is the right name for this as well, because it's super complicated trying to differentiate between the two things. But yeah, we're working on that. I'd say give us a month or two and that should be in place, hopefully.
Thank you, Sam. So let's move on to the next most voted question, which is, what is the financial strategy of the foundation to hedge the global economic risk happening right now? Can we get more transparency on the foundation expenses?
Totally, I can take on that one. So first thing to say, we recently announced and we disclosed the situation with Genesis. Basically, we had something around $8 million of cryptocurrencies staked in Genesis. We are currently trying to find a solution for that, but happily, this new wave of financial turmoil haven't affected the foundation. So we are currently basically finding ways to diversify our funds and obviously continue with our operations. That's what we can tell you at this moment in time. But the truth is that happily we haven't been affected by the latest news that we have all seen happening in the last few days.
Okay, next question. Can you share a KPI you are proud of over the past 2 years? What is the main strategy to position ourselves on top of competitors? Do we have a vision?
Yes, we do have a vision. Probably what I could say is let's keep on these questions maybe for another Ask Me Anything session. I think that probably Worlds is the main thing to be shared today. I think that's key. And we can discuss about the different KPIs and do somehow a recap of the last years.
I can just make a quick comment. The amount of contributions, open source contributions to the central organization is amazing. It's in the top of crypto project out there. And so a lot of claps for all the code that they have been created. And this is open and it's a legacy for the future. Yeah, I want to focus on words, but so I wanted to add that KPI. And next question. I think we already answered Jason's talk. Next one is, how will Decentraland protect its reputation and the reputation of Genesis City from bad performance of poorly managed world servers?
I can chime in on that one.
Okay.
Welcome,
Aus.
So the Genesis City and the worlds are physically different realms, in the same fashion as the preview of a local scene is a different realm. So there shouldn't be any effect on the Genesis City because of a poorly performant scene on a world. And as well, it shouldn't be any performance impact in different worlds hosted in the same server. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, if I can rephrase it, is like in performance-wise, the Genesis City performance shouldn't be affected by a world. But I think in terms of reputation, it's like a world is really bad, and a user had a bad experience, and then they say Decentraland is bad because the world is bad and not because Genesis City is good. But I think that problem already exists for Genesis City as having other neighbors that you don't control the how that things perform. So I don't think there is much we can do in terms of protecting reputation. Yeah, maybe what we can do is on the discoverability side, what kind of experiences can be highlighted and drive traffic through that. I think that's an important point to discuss.
Something to be added on top of that, Shamel, is that we are currently working on a proposal for a moderation plan that will be posted on the DAO. So hopefully that can also help us with everything that has to do with, moderating content that is not appropriate for the Decentraland Genesis City, as well as poorly performance, scenes for poorly managed, world servers. We can find our way to curate that information in the best possible way.
Great. Moving to the next question. First time to see the CEO of the foundation. Why he's not doing his job more often and connecting with the community? Yeah, sorry for the language or the phrasing on this.
Yeah,
it's great to see you here, Aus.
No, totally. I mean, I can quickly tap on this one. It's not related to Worlds, but we are doing our best to keep on, an open channel with the community. We will continue to do this as much as possible. Obviously, we are in touch with the community. It's not like this is the only place in which the channel is happening, the communication is happening. But moving forward, we will try to do our best to have more iterations like this one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. It's also from Jason Dove. Lag on Decentraland Worlds is something that needs to be addressed. Even with only 1 or 2 users, it runs slow. What do you have planned to improve Worlds performance? I have here someone saying that it runs super fast on your own server. You should try it. Do you have any other comments regarding performance? I think with lag, it refers to latency between the communications.
Perhaps to comment on performance, there shouldn't be anything particular from the World server different from the other experiences. So there might be a particular scene that is having bad performance or like a poor internet connections. Perhaps with more details, we can research what could be going on and why there is like a performance issue. But we will need at least the name, the server, and where the scene is hosted. And if you send the details on the Catalyst Discord channel, we are happy to help with that.
Thank you, Mati. So next question is, what is your take on there is so much resistant to Worlds? I personally see the massive benefits, but many are still confused. Yeah, that's probably related with the other question, which is well-known Genesis land owners think that Worlds weren't discussed with the community and they dilute Genesis land. What do you think about it? How to mitigate it? I can, Esteban, do you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Esteban, co-founder of Essential. I think that worlds particularly uh, don't necessarily compete with land. I think that they compete with other metaverses out there. If we want creators to create virtual worlds, it's a lot better that they use the SDK, that they use the decentralized tools, rather than go to some other editor tool for Roblox or Meta Horizon or things like that. So in that regards, I think that everybody should be rooting for worlds to increase the centralized user base and the user base of creators instead of competing for Genesis versus Worlds. I think that it's a net gain for everybody. I see the dilution of potentially attention, but I think that the biggest risk is that users just don't use the center and go to some one of these other worlds like Minecraft or Roblox. So that's how I look at it. Happy to hear your opinion on all of this.
Thank you, Esteban. Yeah, I agree. It's an amazing competitive, step into like beating other competitors, being able to offer a easy way to test and deploy content and manage your own content. In terms for this question about the communication, I think that's something to be acknowledged in general, like the process of coming up with worlds and the internal decisions. Yeah, maybe it could be communicated better. Like, sorry for that. I think the strategy in general was let's make sure this is doable and feasible. Let's build a prototype and let's start the conversation from here. So I think like communications from now on regarding worlds should be done in the public, and we should encourage all parties to express, gather, and define together what's the future of decentralized worlds. If that's okay, we can move on to another question. Say, hey, what's your plan on numbers for worlds being deployed and active daily users in this year and the next one? Numbers of worlds being deployed right now, it's 200. So maybe having many X of that. That's my opinion, though. Like, that also depends on how discoverable are worlds, and also if that's on the official site or maybe a community member creates another alternative ranking of worlds. So yeah, we'll see. I don't have any expected number. Maybe someone else want to jump in and.
Well, what I can say and to add on top of this is that we see a big opportunity in promoting, worlds and bringing on and onboarding content creators. I think it's a unique tool for the whole Decentraland project to mass campaign and help bring the value that we've been building for the last couple of years. So we don't have a plan in terms of numbers, but we are planning our go-to-market strategy with the worlds in the best possible way.
Thank you, Agus. So next question, is worlds going to be visible on Decentraland Explorer? I think at the moment they are not. You can type in the chat, or you can get into a portal, or you can access with a direct link. I think if they are included into the Decentraland Explorer, it's probably tied to if the worlds should be included in places or events. So I think like that's how they will be discoverable in the Explorer. Something else to add on this? Okay, let's move on to the next question. Does the foundation have control over the content of self-hosted world servers? Can the foundation block access to the world content server? So the answer is no. The Decentraland Foundation has control over its own instance of the world server, and it could block access or take down a world that maybe violates the policy. But if you run your own content server, Foundation cannot take it down or moderate it. At least that's the current standpoint. Maybe tomorrow the DAO has a way to have a blacklist of worlds or something like that. And the Explorer could honor it, but at the moment, no. Next one. Why didn't the Worlds Update proposal go through the DAO? That's an interesting question. The DAO at the moment has control on on-chain stuff. What I mean is like it owns the marketplace smart contracts, the land registry smart contracts. It can change the fees for the submission of new wearables, and also has a treasury. And that's the power that the DAO has to manage, like if the thing was about updating the land registry to add more land, that's totally needs to go through the DAO. But yeah, this is more like an experiment and a new way to publish content. I think like the strategy was to create a beta version and open up the conversation when we have something to show, or the foundation has something to show. However, for adding new features, I think like going through the DAO, or at least going to a signaling is the way to go. We already see that in the discussion between adding it to these places or events, and we should see more of that. Any further comments? Okay, let's move on.
We can take the chance to tell a little bit about the story of Worlds as a product, because I don't think we did a great work sharing that. So last year, we recommended all scene creators to use Heroku to preview their own scenes before deploying to the Genesis City. And that also gave the chance to people that did not own any land to actually test the SDK, to create their own scenes, and to decide whether or not they wanted to introduce themselves into Decentraland. In the last part of last year, late last year, Heroku announced that there was not going to be free tiers anymore. So the people that was freely deploying their preview scenes using the CLI, which is a tool that probably all of us know, they didn't have the option anymore to deploy their own scene to a server. So we tried to figure how can we not lose this functionality, because lots of people were using that. So somebody from the team had the idea of, okay, what if we deploy a server that allows people to preview their own scenes? After that, after a lot of questions like how do we prevent this from being misused, we came up with the idea of assigning a name and allowing people with names to deploy their own preview scenes to that. And suddenly we have the Worlds feature. So probably what I'm trying to say is that Worlds is a preview scene. It has always been there, only arranged in a different configuration. Thank you, Scott. That was pretty much it.
Thank you, Aus, for sharing it. Next question, can we make it easier for people to navigate between Worlds, Genesis City courts, change realm, go to Genesis? It's a barrier at the times. Well, if you are a landowner and you can create a portal, that's way easier for a user to just pass through it. Maybe if we can have smart wearables in the near future, you can have something like an experience that can let you teleport it to other places. yeah, I don't know if we have any other plans at the moment to change the Explorer to display the worlds.
Yeah, I think for us, we do tours every Monday and we typically use the chat and we put the chords in and people click the chords and that's how we go from place to place. So right now we have to tell people to type in change realm and then the person's name. But then we can't we have to mess with how we type that so that we're not actually putting change realm in for ourselves. And then once we're in the world, we have to tell people to go to Genesis City and then go to these chords and hope that, because where your home is saved is not always the same place. So you're not all going to pop to the same place after that. So it just makes it a lot harder for people to go from place to place to place.
Okay, that's interesting feedback. We can send it over to the team building social tools for the Explorer. Yeah, maybe it's an easier way is to send a request to a friend to let's jump together to this place, so you can invite the people, or maybe it's a clickable link in the chat. I think there are many ideas on how this could be improved. Thank you for raising it, CK.
Thank you.
So next question, Worlds competes with GC. If you want to build a large scale, Genesis City. If you want to build a large scale experience, you need a large state. Now that we be free, how land value and Genesis City development protected?
Maybe we can take that limitation or relax that limitation for landowners. Literally, I think that there are two kinds of limitations on building or two or three kinds of limitations on building on Genesis City. I think the number one limitation is the size that you are building. The smaller the size of the parcel, the more parcels you can see outside, and in my opinion, the better is the value of the land. On the other side, there are some other limitations that are strictly technical, like the number of megabytes that your scene can have, the number of textures, and things like that. And I think that the height that you can build your buildings, it's more of the first kind. It's similar to how big can you build, and I think that it could benefit from the conversation. Maybe we can improve on that if that's not something that's adding value to the landowners. Maybe we can increase the height of building. I think that would be interesting. I don't know how you feel about relaxing the restriction of building upwards. It may increase the value of land, it may decrease it. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting question.
Yeah. To add on top of that, I think also the value of land in Genesis City, it's also a real estate thing. In terms of the value of land, it's also be close to this other land. You have neighbors, and that's more the conditions you need to build a public space. And as soon as we grow in user base and more traffic, being able to have a place to build on the public space, on the main lobby, that's yeah, the real estate market value appearing, and I think it's it's a lot of sorry, it's very interesting for landowners. I believe the DAO should be super bullish on Genesis City. I publish a proposal to buy land regularly, and yeah, it's a very important part of the vision of Decentraland, of having a traversable space in which you pass from one scene to other one built by different people. I think that's mind-blowing, and we should totally need that in the metaverse. And Genesis City is the implementation of that concept. We're 3 minutes late, but maybe we can do one more question, or is the foundation the same as a grantee? Can the funds be revoked by the DAO? I think the foundation should offer results such as DAO's evolution. That's a complicated question. It's not the same as the grantee. Like the DAO committee doesn't have powers on like the vesting contracts of foundation. So if as the DAO committee wanted to do something, I cannot. Yeah, so it's not the same.
Shemel, maybe we can aim for one last Worlds-related questions, and then
Yeah.
we can all the other ones and answer them async. I think that's going to be beneficial.
Yeah. We have this from Ojo. After launching Decentraland Worlds and receiving surprise feedback from community members, what lessons about practical communication did the foundation learn?
Yeah, I can answer that one. I think that, communication is key, and that's, a tool that we are iterating and finding better channels with the community, like this Ask Me Anything session. Moving forward, what we would like to do is, first of all, before launching something big like this year Worlds, is have a proactive conversation with the community, and obviously go through the DAO for a vote if something that is going to affect, the general protocol. So we acknowledge that we weren't as communicative as possible, and we would like to make up for it moving forward and have more Ask Me Anything sessions or other channels that can help with, collaboration. You're mute, Shimi.
Oh, okay. Is that the last one? Or should we do one more? We have this, you mentioned during the presentation that having to deploy Worlds directly via the builder is in the pipeline. Any estimated times? I don't know what's the timeline, but probably next quarter. Not sure. Maybe Mati or Dab's team can answer that, right?
It's hard to give a definite date because it's a cross-team initiative. So,
Yeah.
But next quarter it will be like our expectation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we reach our time for this session. There is a recording of this meeting. It will be published. Also, all the questions will be answered in written and shared as well with the recording. So other unanswered questions should be addressed there. Thank you so much for the time and coming here. I expect this to be the first of many other spaces to discuss about the future of Worlds and Decentraland and how we can make an amazing experience other people can build on top of it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you all.